That's something I talked about for a long time, because I just love touring the whole country. I love seeing everywhere. I'm really interested in smaller towns too, and like local scenes. Um, and I'd never done it. And a couple years ago, I kept thinking, now is my time to do this. I want to do it in soon. And as I got to planning it, I kind of felt like 50 days is such a long amount of time. And honestly, the challenge of doing 50 states in 50 days to me wouldn't be how fast it is, it'd be how slow it is.
Rob Ruckus,
Nick Collins,
Kate Clover,
Keith Semple,
Isaiah Mitchell,
Billy Harvey,
Tim Howard. Check it out. Almost Famous Magazine.
Hey everyone, welcome back to The Hang, brought to you by Almost Famous Magazine. I'm your host, Scott Saldinger. Thank you for joining us week after week, getting to know musicians well beyond just their music, really learning their stories in their own words. If you are new to the channel, thank you so much for joining us. Please, you know what to do. Like, hit the bell, subscribe, do all the good stuff that can help us out as well as the artist. And if you've been here before, and you haven't told your friend about us, but you're coming back, what are you waiting for? Come on, help us out. We appreciate it. Also, if you prefer to take your podcast on the go, I get it. We live busy lives. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more. Today on The Hang, I'm joined by Nordista Freeze. He's a Nashville indie pop and psych pop road warrior. We're going to get to that. He's going on the road. Whose Big Sky Pipe Dream album channels the heart and drive of dive bars, DIY rooms, and life lived one show at a time. This guy is a performing hurricane with more than 500 live shows in just a few years, collaborations and connections across the Nashville scene, and a self-made community spirit that helped events like Freeze Fest and Space Prom. He is the founder. We're going to talk about that. He's built things from the ground up with hustle, joy, and a real belief in music as a connection. You know, if you've been here before, we love that idea. Music is our connection. He is embarking on a tour with a goal of completing 50 shows in 50 states over 30 days, set for May 1st through the 30th. If you care about artists who tour relentlessly, their sharp songwriting and scene building into something bigger than themselves, we're going to have a great time. You're going to learn a lot today, and you're going to want to listen up. Nordista, welcome to The Hang.
Man, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate that intro. It made me feel inspired to keep going. Thank you.
You better. You got big plans.
Yes,
Plans.
sir.
I don't want to see you slowing down. For those who have been here before, they know how we kind of start these things out. A lot of times they're not necessarily familiar with a guest, and neither am I. So what we do is we go back and learn your origin story, right? How your relationship with music began. Did you find music, or did music find you? How did that relationship start? And what's been the journey along the way to get you to where you are today? Tell me about it.
Yes, well, thank you for the question. Let's see. I would say my foundational musical influences would be Oldies 96.3 here in Nashville. And, my dad would put on a lot of Beatles and Beach Boys and oldies in the car. And growing up, going to a church that didn't have instruments, it was all a cappella. And so I've always had a love for vocal harmony, and that got me started. When I started putting out music, I didn't know how to play any instruments. I just was doing a cappella vocal loops with a looping machine, and that was really how I got my start. And just a love for music. An older brother with a great music taste as well got me into a lot of cool stuff. And I just started when I was about 13 and never slowed down. Just love putting out music, and got the touring bug as well, and haven't been able to let go of that either. So now I found my things I love.
What's the journey been like for you?
Well, back in middle school and high school, I was just putting out music like crazy. That was really the mode for me, was just going home and being in my little DIY studio, my Tascam 4-track recorder. And then in high school, I got started playing shows and just kind of found my way into playing more and more around Nashville. And I feel like I, somewhere along the way, got known for being into DIY and really like independent, but all of that just came out of necessity. I was just young and we couldn't get booked at venues, and So we would just throw things anywhere we could, in like a barn or in a gas station or on the side of the street. And I've just to this day I've always preferred that, and that's actually why I know we're going to talk about it later. But the reason I'm doing this whole tour that I'm working on right now is like kind of continuing in my roots there and doing a totally DIY tour across America. It's just it's what I loved, and it's still what I love too. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, let me ask you this: you've kind of landed in this indie pop, psych pop genre. What drew you to that? Right? What drew you to that type of music and a passion for it?
well, that would probably be my friends in high school. I was actually really good at math in middle school. I got placed when I was in fifth grade. I got placed in eighth grade math, and so I was hanging out with older kids and in like the algebra room, and they turned me on to like a lot of cool independent music. My older brother as well. I'm a really big Beach Boys fan, which people know me for, but a lot of the music that I was into actually at the time was music that was inspired by the Beach Boys. Looking back, like bands like Animal Collective and of Montreal, a lot of just like colorful and flavorful music. That's always been my, I like music that's indulgent like that. So yeah, and I just love it. I mean, I'm a historian for it too. I'm a huge '60s nerd. I just love finding cool records everywhere I go.
Well, it sounds like you've got a pretty eclectic taste for your music. Who are some of the artists that have really had an impact on you?
Let's see. My first favorite band was a band called Family Force 5. That was a Christian rock band. That was when I was like in fifth grade, and listening to Christian music. And then throughout the years, yeah, of Montreal, Animal Collective, like I said, and then I got pretty deep into '60s Beach Boys and a band called NRBQ, the New Rhythm and Blues Quartet. They're one of my all-time favorite bands. I just found a lot of their records when I was in North Georgia last weekend at these in Dahlonega at an antique store, and I also found Captain Beefheart and Frank Zappa's live record Bongo Fury, which I never thought I would find. So I'm now the proud owner of that on vinyl.
Yeah, well, if you like that one, you better get Live at the Roxy.
I would love that.
That Live at a Roxy is just absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Zappa was one of a kind, and it's unfortunate he hasn't had an opportunity to survive to see the world as it is today. I'm sure he would have a few things that were prescient to say about them.
Yeah, I would imagine so as well. I would really like to have had a longer career from him. He put out so much music, but he could have put out so much more, man.
Oh, absolutely. He was a force to be reckoned with. So let's talk about 50 shows in 50 states. Tell us about the planning that's going into it. Are there any specific stops that you're most looking forward to making?
Yeah, well, for a long time I had the idea to play 50 states, 50 shows, 50 days. That's something I talked about for a long time, and I'm not the first person to have that idea. There's been, you know, I would guess I've found at least like seven bands that have done that before. George Thorogood did it, I think back in like the '80s, and the Melvins have done it as well. And that's something I talked about for a long time, because I just love touring the whole country. I love seeing everywhere. I'm really interested in smaller towns too, and like local scenes. And I never done it. And a couple years ago, I kept thinking, now is my time to do this. I want to do it in soon. And as I got to planning it, I kind of felt like 50 days is such a long amount of time. And honestly, the challenge of doing 50 states in 50 days to me wouldn't be how fast it is, it'd be how slow it is. Like, that's a lot of downtime, it's a lot of days where you're loading in. And so I thought I'd rather speed the whole thing up and try to break the world record, whatever it is. I started doing research, and I found a band that had done it, in like 46 days. And then I found this Irish band that had done it in 36 days. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to try to do it in the month of May. And it'll be really fast and really fun. And I'm just going to have a PA and my guitar. And I'll just be driving, playing shows, keep going, no sleep, hopefully some sleep. And yeah, that I willed it into existence. And now it's I've opened Pandora's box. I've been very publicly planning it in a way to kind of like force myself into it. And I've only booked 12 shows so far, but I'm reaching out to people in all 50 states, and I've got 7 weeks left to get everything booked. So it's been thrilling, and it also keeps me up at night. So I'm stressed about it, but I'm excited about it too.
Yeah, I mean, have you heard of Frank Turner?
Frank Turner, I don't know if I have.
Check him out. He is the current reigning king of setting gig records for the most gigs in a small period of time. So you should check him out for sure.
Okay, cool.
He's a great punk artist. So you've recently done a kind of a re-release of Big Sky Pipe Dream on vinyl. What brought that about?
Yeah, what brought that about was initially just having way too many copies of my record. And no offense to anyone I was in, who helped me in the past, but there's been a couple times in my career where things have built up in a way with management and stuff, and we've had some momentum, and people are always very excited about the opportunity to press vinyl or make merch, and there's always a lot of it to be made, and I think almost always you don't sell out. I think there are probably a lot of bands with a lot of records in their basements, and I was no different. And I just decided I was tired of looking at them, and I was just like, I'm just gonna give these away for free. And so I posted on TikTok, and it, I was able to get rid of. I think I'm up to 900 records so far, where people basically, if they just pay the shipping, I will sign and personally ship them the record. And yeah, I'm just doing that, and it it's been a fun way to try to get my music out there. I feel like times are changing with streaming services and people's relationship with music, and you know, obviously we've only had streaming for a short amount of time in the grand scheme, and I think it's going to continue to evolve. And so I'm trying to place my bet that people, one, still love physical music, and I think even more moving forward will value records. And I'm just trying to make more fans and find people that value music. Also, the people who want to have a record, I think, are people who I would want to have my record. Record collectors, music lovers. So I'm that's just been an experiment I've been doing, and I just pressed like 1,000 more. So I'm gonna keep it going. See if I can get 1,000 more random people to listen to my music.
Well, I know someone in Rochester, New York, who's going to end up getting an album, so I think I can handle the shipping cost. We'll talk about that off camera later. But
Thank you.
I've been building my niece's record collection. She's got quite the collection of autographed records, so we'll take care of that off.
Oh,
I
awesome,
agree
man.
with you. There's no when you think about the music listening experience of having to physically put a something on a something, whether it's a record on a turntable, a cassette into a player, a CD into a player, that is a physical journey you're going on. Whereas now it's just this digital thing that happens, is all you have to do is put a set of ear pods in, right? So
Right.
it's just a different experience altogether. Which I ask myself a lot of time is which experience is better, right?
Right.
Because I think we live in this world of shufflers. And when you shuffle, I don't think you're necessarily investing your time in the way in which the artist wanted to represent the music to you, right? Because
Right.
you can just bounce around. Whereas sequencing an album and the thoughtfulness that goes into that sequence, or even interstitials in between songs that some artists will do, you kind of lose out if you're just hitting the shuffle button. So
Yeah, I totally agree with you, and I feel like my best music listening experiences have been one whenever I had a car that had a CD player, and I feel like when I would drive around and just let a CD play, maybe even multiple times in a row. You just keep it going, starts over, and also I really enjoyed having an iPod. Like for me that would have been throughout middle and high school, and I just feel like having a library of music that you can see, and you know I feel like that helps you when you're wanting to listen to music. Even when I open up a streaming service, I can't, in my brain remember all of the things that I like and listen to. And there are sort of ways to organize your library, but nothing really compares to having that library that you had on iTunes. I think that's like a cool way to listen to music.
Well, and the truth is, I mean, we used to sit down with an album and you'd read the lyrics and you'd read who was on the album and you'd know it was part of your personal knowledge base. Nowadays, more and more people are like, I kind of know that tune, but they don't remember a name of a song, or they don't remember the
Right.
artist, right? And
Right.
they've never studied who are the artists who are on that record. And I think that's kind of gets lost on a lot of people these days. So it's and that's important to know. I mean, these things aren't created. Well, Suno, thank you, but these are typically created by human beings, and those individuals deserve the credit and for people to know about them, right? Because
Right.
without the other artists that go into it, most albums would just be one person with one instrument and not a lot of flavor, right? So
Absolutely agree.
yeah. So let me ask you this question. You've got a catalog of songs you put out. You have a lot of songs that you put out. If someone's watching us right now and they have never heard you before, from your entire catalog, and they were going to start with a couple, 2-3 songs, right? Because I believe that like getting that first initial introduction is kind of the appetizer to the meal, right? You get the appetizer and you're like, oh my God, I want the main course. What are 2 or 3 songs in your catalog that you feel kind of quintessentially encapsulate your sound and feel and how you want people to get into you, right? Are there 2
Right.
or 3 songs that like are the best to start with so that they start to go down the rabbit hole of your music?
Yeah, I would say there probably are. Let's see. I mean, my most popular song on streaming and everything is a song called Wisteria, and I am really proud of that song. I can see why it is the most popular. I'm really proud of how it came together, and we tracked it to tape, and we had like a theremin and a lot of harmony and a 12-string guitar and organ and everything, and it came out very beautifully. And so that's a good place to start. And then on my newest album that I put out last year, I've got a song called A Little Bit Longer that I think I'm really proud of. It's very um, sweet. It's got just a beautiful arrangement. And if I was to pick a third, I would say I have a a collection called Daydream that I put out last year as well that are very progressive and experimental. And there's a song on that called One Thing that's like got trap beats, and it's like glitched out and very strange. And that is another side of me that I was happy to explore. And I hope that people can appreciate the eccentricity of my music. And I definitely go in different directions, and that was a more experimental time for me. So, but I'm really proud of it. And so, yeah, I'd pick those 3.
All right, cool. Well, now we know where to start. So everybody's got to go out and purchase your music so they can start getting into you. And as they know, the links will be down in the description below that they can purchase your music.
Thank
except
you.
for the free album. Except for the free album, it's only postage.
Right.
I'm always curious because from a creative standpoint, you can work on something and you work hard on something, but maybe sometimes you could actually work too hard and destroy your own creativity, right? It happens.
Right.
For you, how do you know when a song is done and ready? And what makes a good song to you? What's your vision of a good song?
That is a great question. There's a lot of different perspectives there. And I'd say living in Nashville, a lot of people value songwriting as a craft. And it's something that almost in a scientific way, where they're attempting to write the best song, and that song could be a standard that could be performed by anyone, a song that has a universal appeal to it. And at the same time, I recognize that, and then I think about the artists that I listen to who would put out a record, and that record could have all sorts of different pieces, and instrumental songs and longer songs and shorter songs, and every song isn't meant to be a hit. And it's almost like a baseball lineup, or it's like, or like a sports team has to have different members of the team. You don't want everyone to be a heavy hitter. And so I don't know. I mean, to me, a song is is a collaboration or not, or but it can really be anything. And choosing to know when it's done is completely up to you. You know, there's a lot of song I've multiple times in my career released a song twice because to me, you know, one version of it was with certain players and certain production, and I think that that accomplished that song's meaning at that point in that context. But then that same song can mean something else on a different project and with different arrangement and different people working on it. And so, you know, ultimately, a song is never done. You just at some point decide to let go of it, and you know, it's a great question because people all people in my life have different perspectives on this, and I have friends who spend years working on a song, and others, you know, who just lay it down, and some of my great, you know, the bands that I love, you know, like working completely different ways. I'm a really big Bob Dylan fan, and you know, it's evident that a lot of his records he doesn't look back on. You know, like the band just kind of plays, and you know, even they say that that opening organ line on like a Rolling Stone, like that was totally unintentional. That guy didn't even really know how to play organ. He just wanted to be in the band. So anecdotes like that prove there is a spontaneity, and I definitely believe in that. I definitely believe in moving fast and making decisions, and then once you make them, just choosing to move forward. But I have respect for different crafts, and I think in the future I'd like to approach different recording projects differently. I'd love to work on a song for weeks at a time. That sounds exciting to me, but it's not something I've ever done. So
So you said something that really sticks with me. The letting go. You've got to let it go. For you, when you let go of a song so that it goes out in the world, do you get a feeling about that? Like, do you get any type of like in your gut, hey, this is going to be great. Maybe now is not the time, but I got to get it done. I got to get it out. Like, what is that feeling for you when you let it go, a song?
it well, I love the process of making music, and I find that, you know, as I get older, I understand that a recording process is more of a calculated approach. I mean, you have a certain amount of time, and you have a certain amount of supply. You have a certain amount of you have a budget. You have things you have to work with, and to maneuver all of that can feel a little bit. I don't know. It can feel more like you're not able to be as indulgent and expressive sometimes as you want to be, or you can be, but you have to decide. You know, do you want to be in a studio or do you want to just do this in your house? And like, what quality of you know, microphones are you able to use, and this and that. And my preference has always been to. Uh, well, actually, I don't know what my preference has always been. I guess I go back and forth. And one of the reasons why I liked experimenting so much was that I was able to just get in the studio and make those songs that I made in a very out, you know, in a way that I can't even ever perform them live. Like they're just so like uniquely studio driven. Um, I actually have no idea. I have no idea. I find the older I get, the more I actually have no idea the answer to this question because it's just like completely up to the artist. And um, yeah, it leaves me with no answer at all almost, you know.
Well, let me ask you this. I mean, you've been doing this a while. How do you challenge yourself as an artist to grow in your creativity?
Well, you know, I I think that if you're not challenging yourself, then I'm not really sure what the point is from my perspective. I like with Space Prom and the events that we do, as well as the records that I do. I've always believed that you want them to not be similar to the one you just made. You know, you don't want to make like a sequel. You want to make something completely new. And I think that you have to push yourself uh, to re-unlock that artistic expression. Like it's almost it's lightning in a bottle to be able to make something that is special to you and powerful and that feels like something you're really proud of. And in order to find that lightning in a bottle again, you have to continue your search. Like you can't do the same things and reach and hope for the same conclusion. And that can be a little bit tricky because especially when you have music that becomes culturally relevant or important, people always talk about like a sophomore slump or they're disappointed with a band when they put out their new music. But a lot of times it's just a really tricky and almost unfair expectation. If they make it too similar to their past music, then it feels derivative, and if they make it too different, then people think that they've lost the plot. And whatever made that music feel culturally relevant and or important to the people that liked it might not have necessarily been something that was ever valuable to that artist to begin with, or maybe it's something that they no longer value. And so for an artist to make art that people feel relates to them and what makes it so special to them is a very rare and unpredictable thing. And trying to do that more than once is almost impossible. But I have mad respect for anyone that has. And I'm still humbly searching every day to try to make good art and or art that I'm proud of, and I assume I will for the rest of my life be on a journey of that. You never find a way and stick to it. You learn lessons along the way, but you don't. I don't think you can ever find the formula, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You've got, you've got a very good pace, actually a pretty quick pace at the amount of output that you have. Do you ever find yourself struggling for a new idea? Like, do you ever reach a hey, there's no more gas in the engine right now. I gotta recharge the batteries, so to say?
You know, that's a good question. I feel like I don't feel like I don't ever feel uninspired. I think what I struggle with more is just the modern, the output in terms of I never have enough time to do all the things I want to do, and I don't always know what to value or what to put my time towards. We're basically, this is a tired thing to talk about in artistic communities, but we really do have, the expectations, they don't add up when they tell you all the things you need to do. If anyone gets serious about it and tries to put it all on a spreadsheet, you understand that it's not actually like a realistic thing. And so yeah, between touring and putting out music, sometimes I do so many projects live that I miss being able to make as much music. And sometimes I think about not playing shows anymore. Like what would it mean to just say I'm only going to play 20 shows a year and I could put out 3 records a year? That would be awesome for me. I love making music. And the years that I tour really heavy, I always miss making music. And then the years when I make a lot of music, I start feeling sad that I'm not on the road. So it's hard to figure out that push and pull. But I don't feel like I run out of musical ideas. I've got binders full of them, and I'm just trying to figure out how to like release them and put them out correctly.
Yeah, yeah. Let's talk a little bit about Space Prom. How did that come about? And tell everybody about kind of the history and where you see its trajectory going.
Yeah, Space Prom is one of many different bizarre ideas that I've had for a live music event here in Nashville. Is where I launched most of them. And at the time I was doing one called The Big Scary, which was like a kind of a Halloween inspired event. I had Freeze Fest, which was just a classic DIY rager, and there other events as well. And Space Prom was just one idea that I had to you know cover different dance or prom, as I say, like music of the eras. Like songs that people would go to an event and dance to. And we held it at a Chinese bistro called Lucky Bamboo over in West Nashville. And it was a very DIY venture. I had 8 different bands that were all covering music from the 30s to the 90s, in different. I just asked them to do dance music that people could dance to. And you know, it broke through in a way culturally that I could never have anticipated. We had uh, over 500 people at a Chinese restaurant that had no capacity for that. People were just flooded into the street, and it went really well. We had a great time, and I realized that there was something to it, and I wasn't even sure what it was, but there was something that people really enjoyed about that. And so every year since 2018, I've continued to do it, and we've kind of honed in on what it means to do this event at all. And eventually, it kind of became myself with a house band and us learning 30-ish songs from the mid 70s to 80s, and we bring up our friends to sing, and that's been the model for the last few years, and it's continued to grow. We were able to sell out Brooklyn Bowl multiple times, and now we're taking it on the road. We've done it in Florida, we've done it in South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, I should say, and yeah, it's a lot of fun, and it continues to evolve. I'm not sure, it seems to have an unstoppable potential. So we are continuing to, like you said, we were talking about previously. We are very ambitious every year, and because of that, it is pretty scary. We oftentimes are going for something that's completely new to us. We do new music every year. We don't repeat songs, and we do new cities every year, and we're always, growing it and evolving it, and yeah, we have a bunch of stuff planned already for next year, and because we just did the last one, and yes, it's been just a total blast, and I really have no idea where it's going to go, but if it were up to me, it will keep going and keep going across the country, and yeah, who knows?
Nice. Well, something for everyone to look forward to. Space Prom coming to your city soon. Keep an eye out. During your journey as a musician, we have people come in and out of our lives all the time, and some make a larger impact than others. Has there been someone who's come through your life that's made such an impact that you kind of hold them with you everywhere you go, whether it's a piece of advice they gave you or an idea they gave you? Who's made the biggest impact on you in your musical career?
I would say the people that have inspired me the most would probably be my companions, the people that I have toured alongside. Touring is such a uh, grinding, and it's intense, and it's you know it's straining, and so when I think about the people that have been the biggest influence, it would probably be more of my companions versus like a mentor. It's the people that we've been learning alongside each other and talking for hours and driving for hours and thinking together. And so, I've had over, I mean, I think, I can't remember the number, but I've had over 50 people playing my band. And so if I started to say names, it would be a little bit hard to name everyone, but I could say, like my friend Sma, like, and Grant and Zach, and Trevor and Goots, and uh, Jack and Logan, and there's been different evolutions. All the band Future Crib, they're a Nashville band. All of them have played with me, Johnny and Bryce, and Julia, and my tour managers as well. So not to be exhaustive, but just those people who have you might spend over a month with on the road together. I think those people, we really influence each other. And when it comes to, a lot of them don't play with me anymore, but you see, we have really similar ethos with the way that we approach music. And I think that speaks to a lot of lessons that we've learned together on the road for what it means to be an artist, what it means to believe in, just making good art, and believe in community and what you can do when you really value all of that, and hold that true to yourself and to the people around you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're the amalgamation of our influences, right? So,
Right.
I can understand that for sure. Um, we'd like to we're in the business of putting good things out in the world here on the Hang. We believe that anything you keep inside of you, until it ends up in the real world, doesn't exist.
Right.
So, on that note, what we love to do is to find out something about you and put it out there and see what kind of connection can be made, because you never know who might be watching. If someone's listening and they know someone, you never know. It's a world of connections. So if you had an opportunity to get into a studio for a day with another musician to write with, or have someone produce you, who would that person be, and why would you choose them?
Wow. Okay. If I could get in the studio with one artist, well, you know who I would pick? I actually don't even know their name, but someone that I've been listening to a lot is Frankie Valli, and Frankie Valli's bass player. Right, I found out writes like a bunch of the songs that are wind up being my favorite ones, and I believe he's still alive, but I don't know his
So,
but I don't know
uh,
his name.
oh man.
So maybe I should pick someone else. Okay, a young band that I really am inspired by is the Lemon Twigs, and I they're one of my favorite modern bands. Every time they put out music, it's great, and so I would love the chance to collaborate with them. I think that we share a lot of very similar musical influences, and we both have a love for that early '60s music that other people might find a little bit corny. So maybe that'll be my choice. I'll say the Lemon Twigs.
Well, actually, you got two in. So for anyone watching, if you know the Lemon Twigs, or you happen to know the name of Frankie Valli's bass player, because we can't look it up right now. We're online in the video chat and we can't look it up. You now need to go do the research, everybody. So if you're affiliated with them, if you are their dog walker, if you deliver their Uber Eats, however you may be connected, let's make this dream come true.
That would
Everybody
be
knows
awesome.
that we are huge proponents for supporting your musicians. Music is not made for free. I mean, let's be honest. Those albums cost you something, man. They cost you.
Right.
You know, even if people can get them for free right now, that came out of your pocket. So we're big proponents that when your artists are out there and you're passionate about them, you buy the ticket, you buy the music, you buy the merch. Every little bit counts. So all the links are going to be down below. So you can get Nordista's albums, merch, find out where he's playing. When he's out on the road for 30 days, you can show up and support him. All of us can be below. It's super important you do this for not only him, but all of your other artists as well that you're passionate about. Art is not free. With that said, when we're not, making music, who are you listening to? If we're just sitting here hanging out and you're like, dude, you got to check out some of these artists. I absolutely love them. Who are a few that you listen to in your off time, at the gym, out walking the dog, commuting with nature, sitting on a park bench, whatever? Tell me a few people that you think I should be listening to, and what it is about them that really connects with you.
Well, man, I have sort of a yin yang. My love for early music. I've been studying doo wop lately. I've been listening to a lot of doo wop, and I've been listening to Herman's Hermits as well. They have their fifth record is called Blaze, and it's like a little bit more psychedelic. They worked with Donovan's producer, and I just found this record, and it's just awesome. I love it. I love the whole thing, and I also have a love for underground, maybe more modern, progressive hip hop and stuff like that. So I really like an artist named Youngster Jack. I really like Xavier So Based, and I really like an album by Blade and Young Lean called Cold Visions. If I had to pick one modern record, it'd be Cold Visions. It's 30 songs, and the whole thing is just absolutely amazing autobiographical story of what it means to be a modern artist and dealing with the things they deal with. So,
Nice.
yeah,
I'm gonna have
those
to
are my
check those
picks.
out.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to check those out for sure. And everybody watching, you're going to have to check Nordista out on the road during the month of May. So
Please.
As soon as you've got those locked and loaded, you let me know. We'll throw the dates in the description below as well. We'll do everything we can to get people out to see you as you're going around the country. Hopefully you've got a co-pilot and you're not just doing this yourself, because I certainly as you said, there's no sleep. I don't want to see you like fall asleep behind the wheel. You got coverage? You got somebody to take with you?
Not at this time, but I'm hoping to do some sort of baton relay. Like I think I need maybe like 5 to 7 people who can like one at a time be out there with me, so they can be very fresh and have lots of energy. And because I actually do sleep like 8 hours a day. When I said no sleep, that was dishonest. I actually love sleep, so hopefully I'll be reaching at least 6 hours a day while I'm out there.
Well, if if you're watching and you got some time on your hands and you want to go on a road trip, hit them up in the comments below. You never know what could happen to you during the month of May. You never know. The possibilities are endless. So
that's right.
This has been a great opportunity to get to know you. I'm looking forward to seeing you if you come through the Dallas area. I'll make time to come out and check you out. And everyone, check him out, his music, this tour, and Space Prom. So, buddy, I appreciate you joining me today.
Thank you, Scott. Appreciate it, man.
Absolutely. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Please do this for me, do it for yourself. Every day, show yourself a little love and compassion, and then do the same for others in your life, and you'll live a fuller, happier life. And we could always use a little more love in this world. So please go out and do that. Enjoy Nordista's music, and we'll see you soon on The Hang. Thanks for joining me. Bye for now.